Hola, sweet friends. Welcome to Love Lab MD, the only place for highly ambitious women to be our authentic feminine selves while discussing intimate relationship topics. Love Lab MD is a non-judgmental space to seek and give relationship advice and power couple tips. We will learn how to authentically lead with love so that we can deepen the connection and enhance the intimacy between our love and ourselves. And I am your host, a doctor mom in a dual physician relationship and a marriage and intimacy coach, Dr. Kate Mangona. Bienvenidos. Hello, sweet friends, and welcome to Love Lab MD, where we have a very special guest today. I've actually seen her at two different conferences this past year, Dr. Dianah Lake, or affectionately known as Dr. Di Fitness. Dr. Di is a emergency medicine physician, a best-selling author, speaker, fitness and weight loss coach, a menopause wellness expert, autism parent advocate, and founder of Dr. Di Fitness. And today we're going to be diving into all sorts of different topics like lessons from a divorced mom with neurodivergent children, the dating scene in your 40s, finances, and what that finance or earning gap looks like, married, divorced, dating, and the relationship with our body as we age. So I am so excited because I am loving all of these topics, Dr. Di. Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, thanks so much for having me, Kate. This is great. Good to see you again.
Yes, you too. You too. I know we bumped into each other in San Antonio and Puerto Rico.
Yes. Like back to back, like, I don't know, 6 weeks apart.
And tell us, where are you coming from today?
I actually live in Maryland. I've been in Maryland, probably 12 years now. So I'm considering this home at this time, because I've been here for a while. So I'm living in Maryland.
Perfect. And can we just rewind a little bit? And we do know you have two boys, ages 13 and 17. You are a single mom. And you're, hitting the dating scene and loving it. So I'm really wanting to know a little bit more about that. Let's rewind a little bit and go from the beginning of, when you realized, how long you were married and when you realized it wasn't for you anymore.
That's a good question. So we were married, we were together 9 years, married for 7. And there was an infidelity issue. And so the question for me was, and at the time, my youngest son, we have two boys. My youngest son was 15 months. So I was kind of in that postpartum, not crazy about how my body was looking phase, right? And trying to get myself healthy and, get back into feeling really good. The postpartum, it's a really weird time for women. I don't think men get that, Yep. You have a lot of body things going on, while you're trying to be a new mom. So that was going on. And then I found out, about the infidelity. And the question for me was, do I stay? We have these 2 young children, 15 months and 5 years old. Do we work it out? What do we do? How do I feel about this? And the decision to move on, and end the marriage was really knowing who we were as people. Mm-hmm. And knowing what it was going to take for me to trust him. Mm-hmm. From that point moving forward, knowing who he was and what it would take for him to make me feel comfortable again. Mm-hmm. And our personalities, and then just how we were both showing up for therapy, it just wasn't congruent. And I said, okay, I don't feel like, we are moving in the right direction where this could be mended, where I can truly feel happy in this relationship moving forward and what it would require of him, mm-hmm. Because it takes 2, right? And just knowing our personalities and knowing what I knew already going in, I was like, this is not going to work, right? I don't want to be in a situation where I'm always wondering what's happening. I want to feel comfortable with the person I'm with. I want to be able to trust the person I'm with. I want to be able to move forward, with a sense of security, a sense of togetherness.
Yeah.
And that just wasn't happening. And I didn't see it in the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
Just because of where he was at that point. I mean, we have a great co-parenting relationship right now.
Okay.
We respect each other. We're cordial, but this is a better situation for us than staying together just for the kids or, whatever the other reasons would have been to stay together. Yeah. So I'm genuinely happy not being married right now.
I mean, it sounds like you had a lot of like foresight, intuition, like you were able to accept, this might have taken months. I'm sure it didn't, the realization didn't just come overnight, but from what I'm hearing, it sounds like you were really able to accept him for who he was, you for who you were, and be like, okay, you know what? I'm not going to spend the next several years of my life wishing he was somebody different.
Yes, yes. And I'm telling you, therapy helped a lot in that because, and so many of us, have this thing about, oh, I don't want to go to therapy. Therapy works, even for my kid, right? We have family therapy for my older son, right? So I'm a huge proponent of raising your hand if you need support, right? We as doctors, we know a lot. And a lot of times we feel like we should know it all. We should be able to, fix ourselves. So that whole thing. And I just want to put it out there. When you need support, ask for it. There's no shame. So the moment I knew something was going on, it was all over posted on Instagram. And it was horrible. It was horrible. And it was humiliating. And I just wanted to crawl into a hole and like,
Wait, what was all over posted on Instagram?
The woman posted it on Instagram.
Oh my God. Their relationship?
A picture of the two of them.
Oh.
And tagged them on it. And so, of course, people who know us were like, what's going on here? That's how I found out. Yeah. So it was humiliating. I was distraught, right? I had no idea where to go from that point. I was, I think, 37 or 38, right? With these two kids, moved to a new city for his work. I mean, it was just so much going on. And I was just in a new place, didn't know anybody. It was just like, what do you do? And you have to make a decision. Even if it's in a situation that's new for you, you still have to say, how do I ground myself, right, in this and experience it fully?
Yeah.
And therapy helped me with that. Really experiencing, look, this is the reality of your life right now. It's crappy. You know what I mean? And I mean, it's, you know what I mean? Like it was just a mess. And then you still have to go to work and be Dr. Lake. Right? No, for real. Like you still have to go to work. You still have to show up in the other places of your life. Like your life is not falling apart.
Yeah.
You still have to have authority running an emergency department. You still have to do all the things. You still have to smile for your kids. You still have to be mom. You still have, you still have to do all these things when you just want to like choke somebody, because you're upset, but you have to channel it, right? You have to channel it. And so therapy helped me to really feel the feelings, you know what I mean, that were happening. Yeah. And, process it and make decisions that were really hard.
Okay. And how long do you think it took for you to realize it was time to move on?
I think it was about maybe, let's see, probably 6 to 8 months into, trying to figure out what we were going to do, doing the marriage counseling wasn't working, right? Because I'm a big proponent of if someone shows effort, I will reciprocate. Yeah. If the effort isn't there, I'm not going to keep putting in a lot of effort if I see the other person's not putting in the effort. Mm-hmm. And that was what was happening in that whole period of wanting to go to the counseling. I just felt like, I'm putting in more effort here than he's putting in, and he's just not there, like at the point in his life where he wants to make this work. Yeah. So it kind of needs to be both people going in, with the same level of, effort in my mind for it to be sustainable. So when I felt like I was putting in more effort in that part, and then more things just kept coming up, like more, discoveries, if you will, I was like, okay, this is not a one, time situation. I'm getting even more information about other women and stuff. And I was just like, look, this is not where I want to live. This is not what I want for my life. This is not what I want for my children. And so it was a lot of crying, a lot of, it was all the emotions, self-pity, fear. What am I going to do with these two kids now? Going out, and I mean, I hadn't really dated much. So I didn't know much about dating. I had two really long relationships, like an 8.5 year and then this 9 year.
Wow.
So, and then I'm like, that's like almost, 18 years of my life, right? I'm like 37. So I hadn't had a whole lot of dating experience. And I was like, crap, what do I do now? I don't know how to do this, And so that's where it was. And I just decided, look, I know it's going to be hard, but people have done this, right? People have done this. I know this is possible. So I just get to find out, how is it possible for me, right? How do I move from here? How do I do it? Because I know other people have done it before, men and women.
Yes. So tell us, how did you make it possible for yourself to move on? What did that look like? And
I mean, it's almost like grieving, the passing of a loved one, right? I really do feel when you go through a divorce, you go through all those grief stages, right? And you ultimately get to the acceptance that this is what life is right now. Right? You go through feeling upset and denial and, why is this happening to me? You go through all those things and you get to a point where you say, look, this is life right now. Right? I have to accept that this is life right now. And I get to create my dream life, right? I get to create my dream life with this experience. Yeah. I get to flip it around. I get to pivot into, the next version of me, right? Whatever that's going to be. And I did a bunch of emotional intelligence coaching training. That's actually how I eventually ended up being a fitness and weight loss coach, right? Because I wanted to take care of my own body. I was like, look, I'm crying all the time. I feel a mess. And I remember 2012, June 2012. Oh my God, it's June 2012. I went for a run with one of my girlfriends. I was in this mom support group. And that was when I was going through separation, leading to divorce. And I was just not in a good emotional space. It was actually my lowest because I was also mourning the passing of my father. So he passed in June, so it was just like a really emotional time for me. And she was like, look, let's go for a run. I was like, I do not run. She was like, let's just go. We'll do a walk and we'll do a little bit of run in between. And that June 2012 was where my fitness journey started. Wow. 12 years ago.
Okay. So now, you're a completely different person. I mean, you've so much more emotionally intelligent. I mean, I would say you were emotionally intelligent then too, but just a different level, right? Different stage.
Yes.
So, and you're hot out there on the dating scene, speaking of how do I do this? And I feel like you're probably an expert at it now. How do I have this question I'm just dying to ask is how, and I know you're like, you've been dating different people and you've been able to decide, okay, this is not the right person. I'm going to continue. How are you doing anything differently this time around than you did when you and your ex, in order to attract the type of person you want in your life?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'll tell you the big difference was when I met my ex-husband, I was an intern, just finished medical school, doing my, internal medicine 1 year before going into ER. And he literally swept me off my feet. It was like, we're in New York City, we're doing all the things. We're like, I just was swept away. Like, After 2 days, he asked me to be his girlfriend. Like, I mean, it was just like very fast. And I just kind of allowed it, right? I just allowed myself to be chosen and allowed all the things to happen. And I wasn't being calculated about, is this what I want? I was just so excited, about we were going to, traveling to all these different places, Barbados, like it was just like this fairy tale type of thing, and it just like picked up really fast. And next thing you know, we're buying a house, it was just like very fast. And I think the whole thing just it felt good. What woman doesn't want that, right? And I didn't sit to think, do we have the compatibility? Do we have all the things that would make this work? Like I got swept away and I just went with it, Now when I'm dating, I am so much more like conscientious about what I'm doing. It's not, oh, I just want to be with a person that looks good and has a lot of, money to take me on trips and material things and all of that. It's like, who are you as a human being? Right? Do I even like you? Like, you know what I mean? Like, as a human being, are you a genuinely good person? Right? So the litmus, you know what I mean? Test is so much different now. It's like, I want to know who you are as a person. It's not just about, the activities we're doing together. Yes, you can both love luxurious things. You can both love trips and travel and all these things and still not be compatible. Like at the crux of it, at the core of it. You know what I mean? Your values, your personality, how you conflict, how you resolve conflict, how you communicate, like all those things. Now that's what I'm more, interested in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, how do you resolve conflict? John Gottman, like some of his stuff he talk about, the four horsemen of really, like relationships and stuff like that. I really look for that. Is the person criticizing? Are they condescending? Are they, you know what I mean? Like, can they be just, do you sense a sense of malice in what they do? And, that kind of thing. So when I date now, I just really want to have fun. I'm like, look, let's just go out and just have a ridiculously fun time. And if we like it, we do it again. It's really basic. Okay, and it's like, if that feels good, then we do, if that feels good, we do it again.
Okay.
That's really my approach right now.
Okay. And so slightly different than, okay, if you get a little bit deeper into it, then you've got to ask yourself, hey, is this person a good human being? Do I even like you? Like that, those are some good questions, right? Instead of like, do we just like to have a nice big house together and travel, which, is nice too, for sure.
Yes.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about, because we were talking about this the other day, the difference between pay, like, and income. Now, your ex, I know you've had a previous boyfriend and people you date. Like, how do you deal with, because you're a physician, you make, good income as emergency medicine physician in Maryland. What is that like? What was it like when you're married? What was it like with ex-boyfriends? And what is it currently like?
That's a really good topic because, even some of my physician friends and even friends who are not physicians, attorneys, business owners, this comes up in conversation with us a lot about the income gap. So going back to my marriage, my ex-husband made about a third of what I was making, right, when we're in New York. And I mean, when I came out of residency, my first job was incredible. I got paid for every patient I saw in the ER and every resident's patient. So it was 100% RVUs, right? And every resident that I worked with, when they saw patients, I got paid for it. So it was almost like getting paid double. Coming out of residency, my first year was insane, like how much money I was making. So the rate, the ratio was like maybe 1 probably even like, I would even go down and say a quarter of what I was making. And he really had an issue with what he was making. And that's why we moved to Maryland. So he could get a job that he would get more pay. So even in the marriage, there was constant conversation about pay, about what he wanted to do for his life, right? For what he wanted, and he felt like New York, for what he did in IT, it was saturated for his skill set, and so we moved here. I took a pay cut for us to move here, right? So he could get the raise. And so in the end, my pay cut was more than his raise, right? So we lost money on a deal, but I was tired of talking about it, right? I kind of took the loss for the family, right? I was like, look, we're losing 20K in our total income by moving because of what I'm losing in pay and what you're gaining. There's a differential. But I wanted it to be done about the money part, right? I wanted him to feel that he was making a move for his career that would advance him, and the whole conversation about money hopefully would end, right? So that was how it showed up in the marriage. And then now in dating, it shows up. Some guys don't care, right? And they say it out front. Look, I don't care about your money. I don't care about how much you make. I just want to get to know you. I love those guys, right? Because you know it's not an issue for them. They're comfortable in their skin. They're comfortable with who they are and how they're showing up in the world. And then you have other men where, I mean, there was one person recently I dated last year. We dated 7 months. He had been coming to my house multiple times, seen where I lived and never said anything. And then one day, 7 months in, we walk in my house from a festival. We had gone to a local festival here in Maryland. And he says, every time I walk into this house, I feel intimidated. I turned around and I was like, excuse me? Well, what do you mean? You've been coming here for months. Never said anything, never mentioned anything. And, it was a problem for him. And he said to me, I just stopped, like it stopped me in my tracks. And I was like, hold on, like, what does this mean for you? Right. And he said, he was like, I don't know what I can give you other than sex. I was shocked. I was like, are you serious right now? You don't know what you can give me because I make more? What about companionship? Like, support, emotional support, friendship, coming together, building something together. Mm-hmm. What about that? Like, the only thing you think you can provide me is intimacy? I was like, I'm really disappointed in that. That whole mindset, of, oh, I can't give you anything else.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say about that. Like, what?
Yeah.
And I was just shocked. But yeah, so when the pay shows up, sometimes it shows up that way, where the guy just feels that there's nothing else he can add because he feels like you have everything, which is just a very skewed way of looking at it.
Yeah. It's kind of like a materialistic inferiority complex. Like, it's just, you can't fix that. And if he's if he's going to continue to feel that way in the relationship, I'm sure, right, it just breeds more tension.
And it was just surprising for me to hear that because, we had been doing fine up to that point. And then, like I was telling you before we got on here, when we talked before, and then, when I finally made it to his house, he kept making excuses why I couldn't go to his place. He was always coming here. And when I finally went there, the place was just a mess, and that was another thing, which is completely not related to income. It's just, you've been coming to my place. I've been hospitable, making sure you have a good experience in my home. And now I come to your house and everything is a mess. And you knew I was coming and didn't put in the effort. Again, the effort thing. I'm really big on effort. I really am. And like, if you don't show me that, the effort of cleaning when
Yeah.
you know I'm coming over, having towels that I can use, having a clean bathroom. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Like, we're not teenagers. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry. Like, you've been to my place. How would you feel if you went to a woman's house and her house looked a mess? Would you ever go back there as a man? I asked him that question and he said no. I said, so then he said, oh, I kind of see what you're saying, and I was like, okay, at least I'm glad you see what I'm saying.
Wait, Dr. Di, wait a second. I have 3 kids. I have a 2, 5, and 6-year-old, and this place can be kind of a mess sometimes. So
What I'm saying, if someone's coming to your house for the first time, you make an effort. I'm sorry.
yes, we do.
You
We do.
make an
You're right.
effort. And he has twin 13-year-olds. I have a 13-year-old. He doesn't have toddlers. He doesn't have little children. I'm sorry. There was just no excuse for this.
Okay, so what tips do you have? What tips do you have for women out there who, you know what, they may be trying to decide, because I have a few clients like this. They're trying to decide if they are actually in the right relationship, and they're just struggling to figure out if they should stay or leave.
I mean, when I was in that situation of should I stay or leave, I really had to, I'm a geek, right? I like data. I like objective data. So I literally wrote it down, pros and cons,
Okay.
right? I was like, look, what is the benefit of staying, right? What are the pros of staying?
Mhm.
And what that would look like realistically. I wasn't in my head and trying to make it be all flowery. I was like, look, realistically, what would this look like if I stayed? Right. And I wrote down the things and I said, would I be comfortable with that? Right. Can I truly, genuinely live this life staying, what that would look like, and be content with it and move in the next 20, 30 years with this person and know that this is the best I could do for myself.
Okay. So maybe make
Right.
a cons list.
Yeah. So then I said, okay, what are the negatives, right, of staying? What would that look like if I stayed and nothing changed? Because you can change anybody, right? I can change myself. I can change how I react to the things that are happening, but I can't make the other person change. So if nothing changes, what would that look like? Right? What would the cons of it look like? And then I just sat there objectively, pulling my emotions aside and looked at it and said, is it worth it?
Right. Yeah.
Right? Is it worth it to stay, knowing what the pros and cons would be? Right? Is it worth it for me? And it was like screaming no for me. My answer was, it was like clearly a no, right? That I did not want to live this for the next 20, 30 years of my life.
Yeah. And it sounds like the key is this, for this pros and cons list, you look at your life of like how it currently is, not how you wish, things would be in the future, or maybe after, another year of therapy,
Right.
but how it is now. Okay. And dating tips. What are your dating tips for those 30, 40, 50-year-olds out there in the hot dating scene?
Okay. So I'm 49. All right. So let me put it out there. And I feel amazing. I'm going to be 50 this year. I'm going to have, oh my gosh, 50 is going to be so fabulous. I'm planning it already. Y'all going to be sick of me. Y'all going to be sick of me. All right. Because I'm getting my body right. Emotionally, I'm already in an amazing place, mentally, emotionally. And like I said, really working on the inner work, is a great dating tip. Working on yourself, working on your past traumas, working on all the emotional things that are holding you back. Do that first. right? Because when you work on yourself and you clear all that crap, like
Yeah.
the garbage, that you've been kind of holding on to, those negative beliefs and things, oh, it's not going to work for me. Oh, like, because when I was going through the divorce, there was a moment where I was like, I have a special needs child, right? I mean, at the time, actually, we didn't know Tom was going to have, you're going to be on the autism spectrum. But when I was separating, I had these two small children. So that was the narrative. I'm going to have these two small children. Who's going to want to date somebody with small children? And then it got to another stage where we found out Tom, was on the spectrum. And then that was another thing I had to clear, right? I'm a special needs mom. How's that going to look dating? Blah, 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 right? So when you clear all of that negative energy and the negative talk about who's going to want me, and you start focusing on how freaking fabulous you are. And I mean, you become magnetic, it's like your energy, you're imbued with this sense of self-love. Oh my gosh, it's just so intoxicating. And then you're in this very powerful position of, yes, what do you bring to the table? Because I know who I am. It's a different energy.
Yeah.
And it's not.
Yes. I love it all. Keep going.
And it's like, look, I know who I am. I know what I'm bringing. How are you? What you're about, and it's like you walk into the dating situation just curious about who the person is. And it could be, if you're same sex person, who is she? Right? If you're dating a guy, who is he? You're just genuinely curious, playful, light. I make every day wonderful. Even if I'm never going to see you again, we're going to have a great time anyway. Because we're here. Why not? Do you know what I mean? Why not just be in the moment, enjoy it anyway? Even if you know in your heart, from the moment you saw this person, you're not going to see them again. But it's like, why not enjoy it anyway? Why be like sourpuss about it? Just go through the thing, enjoy it. And then make your list of things that you absolutely must have. Like I have my little short list.
Yeah.
Like for me, personal safety is huge. There can be no signs of violence whatsoever.
Yep.
Right? Or history or whatever. We have to both be into personal development. That is huge for me. Right? Finances, I have my number in my head that I feel like if you are doing this well, I think we'll be okay. I've only dated 3 people my whole life that made more than me.
Okay.
It's just what it is, so I'm not, like expecting the guy to make more. I'm just not. If he does, fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not. Just from my history, it's just not, with the way the percentages go and the statistics, they're probably not going to make as much. And I'm okay with that. Mm-hmm. Right? But they're able to care for themselves and, you know what I mean? Like be, financially stable in their own way.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, like we have to be compatible at the core values.
Yeah. So stable is that's different. Like you don't have to make, right. It's not about what you make. It's about what you spend. Right. And how you invest.
Yes. And so I have my few things that I go into the dating scene with that, they have to have those things. Yeah. And we have to be able to have fun. Yeah. Right. Absolutely. We have to be able to, create memories together. It needs to be easy. I'm looking for easy. It needs to be fun. It needs to be easy. I need to be able to have, hours with you. And even if we're just in the same room and not talking, we're still good. Like it doesn't always have to be stuff going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can. So you can just sit down and okay. So let's talk about it and just be easy and the energy. So I love the positive energy part, and I love the fact that you highlighted like I know what I'm bringing to the table. Now, what are you bringing to the table? Instead of what are you bringing to the table? But I don't really know what I'm bringing to the table. Because and you've cleared up all that stuff. You've come to this really great, super rich energy. Love that. Okay, I have a question about it needs to be easy part.
Yes. I think the need to be easy part is we get to figure it out, right? When you meet somebody, you don't know what their history is. You don't know what kind of inner work they've done. So I ask questions like, hey, have you ever been to therapy? Like, have you ever done any work around vulnerability? Have you done any work? I really want to know, genuinely want to know, what have you done to be able to manage your thoughts, your emotions, to be able to express yourself when you're upset, to be able to resolve conflict, to be able to communicate that you like me. Like, I need to know you like me in a way that, like, I need to know where you are. So as I'm going through getting to know someone, I want to know their style. The things about attachment styles, what is their personality? Are they like a promoter type of person? Are they a controller type of person? Are they a supporter type of person? Are they an analyzer? Like all these different personality types. Who am I talking to? Because then I have to show up a little differently if I'm talking to a controller type of person, or if you're the type of person that's an analyzer and you take forever to make a decision. I need to know who you are. So because I've done all this work, I show up with that training. And so when I'm engaging, I still make it flirty and fun but I still get my information. I still ask my questions because I want to know who I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
How is it going to look when you're upset? I want to see you in all the seasons and all the, different scenarios. So I'm not rushing to be exclusive.
Mm.
And it's so powerful.
Yes. Yeah. When you have urgency, that's when things start like falling apart. And
people feel it. People can feel your anxiety, that you want things to move so quickly because you got some kind of agenda. I just want to go out. I want to get to know you. I want to see how it feels with you at the Kennedy Center, at the opera. I want to see how it's with you at the beach. I have a beach date coming up. We're going to drive, we're going to drive to Delaware. It's a 2-hour drive. You get to know a lot about somebody driving 2 hours together. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I'm in no rush to be coupled with one person right now. I want to see what it feels like.
Yeah.
I think it's a responsible way to do it. I want to see what it feels like and make that decision when we get there. And I think the other people that are coming and showing up, will fall off. You know what I mean? They will fall off if they're just not representing themselves in a way that makes me curious enough to want to, kind of see what they're about. So,
I love it. That lack of urgency is powerful.
Yeah.
Powerful. Because
that's why fun and easy. I want to just get to know you. Mm-hmm. I'm not in a rush to do anything and put a label on anything. And I really feel this is the best way for me to date, is to get to know a guy. And if he, feels like this is something he wants long term, then I expect him to lead. Mm-hmm. I expect him to step into his leadership, say something, do something, right? That puts him in that position. Mm-hmm. I lead all day at work. I don't want to lead my relationship.
Yes. You need somebody to kind of like, well, and that all goes back to a little bit about masculinity and femininity too. Like if you're more feminine, you're going to want somebody a little bit more masculine. So the polarity.
Yeah.
You track. So, okay. One more question on dating. What would you say to somebody who has been dating somebody for like a year, or maybe even longer, and they're like, Dr. Di, this is easy. Like he brings his dog over. There's dog hair everywhere. He gets upset when I go on my girl trip weekends because he thinks I doesn't spend enough time with him. Like, we're doing this long distance thing, and this is not easy.
Well, we all have choices, right? So I have a friend who really has an issue with the long distance thing. Okay. because you don't get to see each other that much when you're dating long distance, right? So whenever you get to see each other, you're trying to cram all this, all these activities into the short time you have together because this person's going to go away again for what, 2 months, whatever the time is. And then my question that I always ask myself, does this work for me?
Mm-hmm.
Does it work for me?
Does this work?
Or am I trying to like take a circle and squeeze it into a square? You know what I mean? Like, does it work? So when I say I want it to be easy, it's easy because it works.
Okay.
Right? It's easy because things are aligned, right? There's congruence. The way he lives his life, the way I live my life are aligned. Mm. We're going in the same direction. It doesn't mean there will never be conflict or misunderstanding or, things that we're indifferent about or whatever. Of course, that happens in any relationship, whether it's a working relationship, romantic, your relationship with your child. Lord knows our children don't like all of our decisions, right? So,
yes, they want ice cream for dinner, which, I used to do
exactly.
too.
So there will be conflict and there will be disagreement and there will be things that we don't see eye to eye on. That's just life. But what I'm saying is, how do you navigate those things? And is the condition that you're in, does it work for you?
Yes.
Is that what you want? What do you want? Right? Maybe that's the other thing. Ask yourself, what do I want? Right? If all things were considered equal, right? What would I want? What would be my ideal situation? And I am so clear on that. And because I'm so clear on it, I can just be like, nope, 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 nope. Yes. Because if you haven't done that work for yourself,
yes,
and you're not clear on what you want, you accept anything.
Yes.
And you accept when someone's chosen you, but you haven't chosen them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If someone says, I want you, and they're doing the things, but you're not saying, hey, this is what I want too. It needs to be, it needs to be reciprocal. So if you don't want long distance, don't do long distance. I don't do long distance because I tried it. I know it doesn't work for me. I'm a quality time. I need to see you multiple times in a month. I need to see you, feel you, be all in your space. So I can't do it, so you got to be honest with yourself. What do I want?
Be honest. Yes, I love that.
Yeah, be honest with yourself. Don't just take something just to have a guy. You know what I mean? I feel like some people do that just to be in a relationship, but the relationship is just not even what you want. Then it's all for naught. Why are you doing it?
Yep.
So
right. That's
what I would say in that situation. The timing doesn't mean a whole lot to me. If it's been a year and it's still crappy, it's still crappy. Whether it's 1 year, 5 years, whatever, it's still not what you want. You know what I mean? So I think I would go back to that. Is this what I want? Mm-hmm. And if it isn't, then you get to make another decision. And decisions move us forward. Absolutely. Right? So you make a decision. This is what I want. Okay, now this is the scenario I'm in. Does this work or not? Like sometimes we really just have to be objective, I think, and be out of our feelings about it. And that would support us, in making the decision. And sometimes when you make the right decision, things end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They just do.
Be honest with yourself. Is this what I want? Is this in alignment? Right? Because we're all different. And if we're staying in something or we're choosing something because we were swept away or they're choosing us, then we're never going to feel like it was our decision.
Yes, it's got to be your decision too. You're in it. You're part of it. You have to decide that I want to be here. This works for me. Yes, this is what, and it needs to be an emphatic yes. I want to be here with this person. Yeah.
And then you get to choose how you want to show up.
Yes. It feels so good. And even when you're fighting, it's like, it's a good fight. Because it's like, this is not a malicious act, right? It's like we just must have some kind of miscommunication here, right? Like that something must not be clear, you know? And let's just figure that out. Because, I love you, you love me, nobody's going anywhere, let's figure this thing out. And I feel like being in that setup feels so empowering to both people because then this must just be some miscommunication. Yep. But if you're constantly, like just enduring it, I don't want to endure anything like relationship wise. I don't want to endure.
Yes, this is very similar to when moms are saying they're surviving or they just have to survive through these years. I'm like, no, let's not survive these years.
That's a long time to just be surviving. No, thrive, and be happy, genuinely happy with who you are, how you're showing up in the world, in your body, in your spirit, in every way. And I think when we start to love ourselves in that way and take care of us, the people that show up are just better. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because you get that magnetic energy that pulls what you want.
Yep.
And so, it starts with you. We can complain all day about our partners, but if we are not doing the work, we kind of keep getting those people who aren't doing the work either. And it's just, I feel like it really starts with us doing our own inner work, clearing all the negative things so that we enjoy life, whether there's a partner or not.
Yeah. And, speaking of showing up for yourself and doing the work and learning to love yourself, I also want to talk about learning to love your body. And you said, you started this journey back in 2012. So now you've been doing it for like 12 years now.
Yeah.
Right. So what does that look like? Because I've heard from several, I have 3 little kids. I've heard from several moms that they just want to learn to love their body again, or they're having a hard time being intimate because they just, maybe he's not attracted to me anymore. But really, I think that's not it. It's that they're just not loving themselves and, embracing all of their beauty.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when you have kids, your body, this. I mean, your body just transforms tremendously. And after having kids, I mean, you look at for most moms, the midsection, right? Our core is an area that's like a little sore spot for a lot of us. Like, I don't like the extra skin. I don't like the stretch marks. I don't like the this or that. And actually with my fitness clients, I have them do a mirror affirmation when they start, right? Like a 3-minute mirror affirmation where you get to look at yourself naked, right? You get to look at all the things, turn around, lift the breasts, look at the rolls on the side. Yeah, look at all of it. You get to cry it out. You get to say anything that's coming to your mind, that's coming into your head. You get to see where you are with your body, right? You get to see how you actually think about how you look, right? Because if you haven't done that exercise, it's so fleeting. When we take a shower, we're not standing there just looking at ourselves. We walk by real fast. We don't even want to see what's there sometimes, right? But when you have that 3-minute, and it's a long 3 minutes, right? Like you're standing and looking at yourself head to toe, turning around, looking at the butt, looking at you get to look at your body for the first time and just be like, okay, this is where I am right now, right? Is that reality check? This is where I am right now. And you get to reframe a lot of those negative things. My breasts are not perky anymore. Okay, well, I nursed 3 children with these breasts. Right? That's how they're supposed to look, right? You start to talk it out. My tummy is, it's not as firm as I would like it to be. I can do something about it, but I've had kids. This is what a woman's body looks like when she's had children. Let's normalize this, right? Let's normalize what a woman who's had kids body looks like. And then can we change it? Absolutely. Can we do something about it? Yes. But let's not shame what it is today.
Yeah,
Do you see what I'm saying?
absolutely.
Let's not shame what we have today, because we went through so many, I want to say metamorphosis, because that uterus is something else. It can get so large. It can just, you could go from being, sexy in your body and come out of it and get to the other side of having children and just feel icky. Right? I mean, everything doesn't look the same. There's a lot more going on in your life. You don't have the same amount of free time, right, to focus on you. But then you decide, I want to do something about this.
Yeah.
Right? And that's most of the women that I work with. Most of the women I work with are physicians, about 80% of them. Many of them are moms. And that's where we start. We start with, number one, let's normalize the fact that your body has changed. You've gone through a lot with this body, through childbirth, through, all of the different experiences you've had in your life. This is where you are. Now we get to go from here to what your goal body and fitness and health and self-care and all the goals that you want for yourself. We get to talk about it, right? Tell me what it is you want. What do you want to look like? What do you want to feel like? What do you want what's your vision for your fitness? Do you want to be able to do a 5K? I've had one of my physician clients say, I want to wear shorts again. It seems so basic, but it's an issue for her. And it's valid. She doesn't like how her legs look. She wants it to be more toned. She wants it to be a certain way before she wears shorts. That's a thing for her, right? For someone else, it could be, I want to feel amazing in my bathing suit. So these are real concerns. And so that's how we start. And I usually will go through with them what their concerns are, what it is they want to do. And then we create a plan customized for them to create that look and feeling. So, I think it's an important thing for women in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and then you have the, perimenopause, menopausal changes, to be able to accept where you are in your stage of life and know what you can do about it. What is still in your power to do, right? Know what is still available to you to do, and then step into that.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's so much we can still do. Right? Even though our bodies have changed, we still have the power and the ability to, get it to where we want it to be.
Absolutely.
We just have to make those adjustments. Yeah. And that's what we do in coaching.
I mean, I have one friend who did exactly what you said. Like, she stopped hating or hiding, right? She would always hide under all these gigantic dresses and just kind of not pay attention. And then one day she did the naked thing. She did a couple other things of exercises on how to love her body. She said she was going to love her body intentionally once a day. Okay. By looking at herself in the mirror, by touching herself, but she was going to tell her body she loved her body every day. And she did that for a year. I can't remember how long exactly. I think about a year. And then after she really believed in her mind that she did love her body, because she had been for years not loving it, 20 pounds fell off. Now, of course, they didn't just fall off, right? She took action.
Yes, but it starts with your thoughts.
Yep.
Right? Because if the thoughts you're having are negative thoughts, then it goes into negative emotions, which then lead to negative habits, right? So if your thoughts and feelings are negative, it's, that your primitive brain is going to pick that up and say, well, how do we soothe ourselves when we're disappointed, when we're sad? We eat, right? So the emotional eating and the thoughts are very much connected, right? So if the thoughts are negative, your emotional eating is going to be unbelievably, like uncontrollable because you're constantly trying to soothe those negative feelings that you're having. And the easiest way most people do that, you can soothe it by exercise. You can go out for a great walk like we did this morning, and that can actually lift your mood. Right. But most people won't think of that.
Yep.
Right. The easiest way is the fridge and the pantry.
And the Netflix and avoiding.
Yes, the hiding, the inactivity, staying in the house, not going out, not being seen. And for some people, they feel like that's a strategy, but it's a strategy that's working against you.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're getting heavier, you're getting pre-diabetic, you're getting, your health is failing because you're going at it, making the wrong choices. But if you start to say, okay, how do I change my thoughts about me? How do I start doing affirmations? Right? How do I start focusing on what's working versus what's not working? Right? Elevate your mood and then ask for help again.
Ask for help.
How do I get support with the things that aren't working? Be realistic. Okay, this is not working. But then what do I do about it?
Yeah.
Right? Not just sitting in it, knowing it's not working and then doing nothing. Right? So how do I fix this part that's not working? And how do I keep elevating the part that is working?
Yes.
Right?
I love it. Okay. So speaking of asking for help, Dr. Di, this has been an amazing conversation. I've loved all of your stories when it comes to dating, being a single mom now, losing weight. Where can people, or just getting fit, not really losing weight, but getting fit, having a healthy body. Where can people find you?
Okay, so the easiest way for women who are interested in getting fit, my Facebook group is called Professional Women Getting Fit. It's easy to remember, right? Because I help professional women. I help mostly physicians and dentists, and I have a few clients that are other professional women. And I help you get fit, healthy, feel great in your body, feel great in your energy, right? Feel great in your emotions. We do a lot of mental work. I have monthly guests that come in, and you're coming. You're coming to my program. You're going to be a guest coach. I have monthly guest coaches that come in. Dr. Amita is going to be coming in July.
Oh, cool.
Yes. This month we had Dr. Mary Long come in, and she did productivity for them, which was awesome. So I have monthly guest coaches that come in. So yeah, they're going to have awesome coaches that are going to coach them in all areas of life, not just fitness, so that you show up powerfully in your body and in all other areas of your life. I have love coaches that come in too. So that's why you're coming.
Perfect.
Because we don't want to just be fit. We want to be fit. We want to be happy. We want to be healthy. We want to be vibrant, right? All the things. So I make it so that you get all those areas of your life handled like a boss.
Okay, so Professional Women Getting Fit. We'll go subscribe now on Facebook.
Yes. So Facebook, Professional Women Getting Fit, and you have the link for it already. The public page is Dr. Di Fitness, which is DRDI and then the word fitness. If you do that, you'll see my Facebook fitness page. But the community where I support people is Professional Women Getting Fit.
Perfect. And I just already tagged you on Instagram too. So if you go to my Instagram story, I just tagged you. You can go follow Dr. Di on Instagram.
Yes.
And thank you so much. This was so much fun, Dr. Di.
Thanks for having me. Yes, it was fun. Look at your little doggy there.
Oh, I know. She's been anxious. She's got to go out now. So this is a perfect time to end. Say goodbye.
Thanks for having me. Okay, bye-bye.